Hey folks, welcome to the channel. It's going to be a very short video. Just wanted to show off the Just Flight Mossie and Prepar3D version 4. Most people have this aircraft, but it wasn't recently updated for Prepar3D 4 until about 4 or 5 days ago. Anyone buying it from Sim Market had to wait an extra day or two. Basically, when you loaded the aircraft without the update, you couldn't see the aircraft, so it was unfortunately useless in Prepar3D version 4 64-bit. So here we are. I haven't added any skins. I did change the sound effects. You can tell if these sound effects are not the default ones that came with the aircraft. This is an older set by the name, this guy that created the set was actually for FS9 and then updated for FSX for the Mustang. But since this aircraft has two Merlin packet engines, I believe, I thought it would be sufficient, and it sounds pretty good. Anyways, for you guys wondering about the Mosquito, which I'm in right now, they call it the Wooden Wonder. It was an aircraft that was used for a number of different missions, everything from interdiction to photo reconnaissance to fighter bomber to night fighter. It was made primarily out of wood and had a crew of two. Very fast top speed, good altitude, and it was an impressive aircraft. So you guys can look up more of that if you're not familiar with it. Anyways, the airport we're at Loring International Airport. And if you're not familiar with that, that is in Loring, Maine, in the northeast corner of Maine. If you go up Route 1 at the end of 95, go past Presque Isle into Caribou and then Limestone. And this was at one time one of the largest American Air Force bases in the world, and had one of the largest stockpiles of nuclear weapons at the Caribou Weapons Station. Also one of the largest fuel depots in the United States Air Force. This base closed in 1994 and has one of the longest runways. Every year they have an event here called the Loring International Time Trials, where people will come and use the runway, which is no longer in use. I think it's 3 miles, something like that, for a max speed run. And I haven't been up there in about 3 years, but the area is beautiful. People are friendly. Great hunting, fishing, hiking, winter sports. It is isolated. The northwest part of Maine is very isolated for you folks that haven't been there, but like I said, it's a beautiful place if you like all those types of different activities. So without further ado, we're going to take off. I'm going to go ahead and power up, and we'll do maybe a lap or two around the stock airport, and then we'll get out. So listen to those nice sounds, and I'll try to keep my head from bobbing. The aircraft is trimmed up for takeoff, and I'm going to go ahead and just rotate right now because we're right there where I want to be. Gear coming up, no flaps. Like I said, I've been up in this area, a lot of potato farms, and it's really isolated, especially in the wintertime. They get so much snow. These are harsh winters up here, and if you're going to live up here in the wintertime, you better be prepared. So they get quite a bit of snow. The Air Force Base closed down in 1994, but there is a museum there, and it's really, the site now is primarily an industrial park. There's some schools there, and private businesses, but there is a museum there, and you can go in there and see a lot of the history of Loring Air Base, Loring Air Force Base, I should call it. Pretty interesting. Back in the day when SAC was, running the show, was the primary response to a nuclear threat by the Russians, Soviets, before the ICBMs came online. It was a pretty intimidating place, and a SAC base was not the kind of place that you wanted to challenge authority, because you'd end up losing pretty much. Times have changed, and so haven't personnel, but at one time SAC had its own way of doing things, and Curtis LeMay, who was really the father of SAC, he knew what he was doing. So he destroyed the Japanese, and he definitely had the tools to destroy the Soviet Union, the Russians, at the height of the Cold War. So anyways, here we are. This terrain I think is pretty representative. This is, Orbix stuff, and this is kind of what I remember seeing, you know, driving up there and stuff. Like I said, it's a lot of fields and small rolling hills. It's really beautiful. A lot of animals up there too. A lot of moose. If you're into that kind of stuff. But this is it. So like I said, it's going to be one pass, and then I'm going to put this thing on the deck. Matter of fact, put it on the deck right now. Upload this video so I can just kind of show you the Mosquito, and a little flyby here. Those sounds, I'll post those in the description of the video, but they might be hard to find. But definitely one of my favorites for the Mosquito. So let's go ahead and line up. I actually tried to make 2 or 3 videos today. It was kind of weird. I had some sunlight coming through at the end of the day when I was making the very last video, and it was causing some interference with the infrared on the track IR, and my head was bouncing all over the place, and I knew that no one wanted to watch that, so I deleted the video. I went to make another video, and then I realized that my joystick configuration, my remaps, were gone, and that was a whole other issue. So I couldn't use the joystick, so I had to remap everything and make some phone calls and kind of catch up, and it was just kind of like almost at the point of saying another day. But I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get this rocking and rolling. So I'm coming in rather short, gears down, flaps down, and we're just going to turn in, park it, and then call it a day, and that way you guys can see the Mosquito if you're interested. This was a 2 crewman aircraft. You can notice that the Bombardier Navigator was right there, and I believe that's what his job titles were. He probably operated the radio a little bit, but you can see he sits lower than the pilot, so the pilot always had good observation looking over his head, you know, in case he was being attacked, or he just wanted to look over and check that that 4 o'clock. So we'll just go ahead and take her on in, and short sweet video, and I'll get it uploaded to you guys at some point. So hope you're doing well. Hope everyone is enjoying the end of summer, getting ready for fall. We are in fall rather, but on my side everything is about as good as it is going to get. So we've got a track day coming up in Florida and a few days off in Florida with some good buddies of mine, and I'm kind of looking forward to that. So that would be the last track day for me for the year. Didn't get a lot in this year, so maybe next year. I'm looking at eventually buying a new bike. That Aprilia RSV4 factory has got my attention, so we'll see, but no rush. All right, we're just going to touch down nice and easy and let the aircraft settle down. This is a long runway, so there's no rush. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, let that tail get down. We go off some of that airspeed. We're right about 100 knots right now, about 90. Oh, there we go, about 80. That tail's kind of hard down. Yep. And just gonna cruise down. Add a little brake. All right, I have to make some changes on my prop pitch. That's it. All right, slowing down. There we go. And listen to those beautiful engines. All right, just gonna take her off the runway right here, and that's a nice sound right there. I like the default sounds for the Mossie, but they did a nice job on this. As far as the guy that made these sounds, I don't know where I got them, but I know they were initially developed for Flight Sim 9. You know, back in the day for the Mustang, and they were updated a little bit for Flight Sim X, and this is who they are. I'll have to mention them in the description. So there's the Mossie, and we'll go ahead and we'll kill the engine, set the brake, and let's go ahead and kill it. There we go. Not too much drama with that. I'll actually do a startup for you real quick. Okay. Not long drawn out, but sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So that's it, folks. Take care and have a good one.